Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Spoop. I'm your host, Don, and with me today, as almost always, is Jeremiah. Jeremiah, say hi.
I
Uh,
We have
yes,
a movie to talk about.
we're talking about another Mark Atkins classic from the Asylum entitled Empire of the Sharks. It is the sequel to the video we did last week ish.
They do
Um,
say it's a sequel, though I do not believe them that it was planned as a sequel. They just happened to make it.
Yeah, it's like a one throwaway scene, but we'll get there. As to how it is a sequel, because it is not very connected. So the movie opens up with an explanation that the world flooded. Cool. And then we get like a small flotilla town that is currently being harassed by the Empire,
By the warlord,
the warlord.
Ian Fine. The main character, no, not the main character, one of the minions played by,
Main
whose name is Mathan Scrim, played by
scrim.
Jonathan Pinair, always has to make sure, by the warlord, Ian Fine. He knows what movie
He
he's in.
is so over the top. He's just beyond what is necessary for this movie. I loved it. It's the same actor that played my favorite character from Monster Island, which was the boat captain. Same guy. He absolutely nailed this role. So they're receiving some sort of tribute from this town, and the town's like, "Hey, we ain't got none. Like, you got to give us some more time." The guy's like, "Oh, why don't you have enough?" And they're like, "Oh, our population, we have mouths to feed, people to have to drink water." He's like, "Oh, I can take care of that. I'll just kill you." So he puts on these like metallic gloves that he uses to mind control sharks to attack random people. And then after enough people have died, they kidnap a bunch of women. Why women is not clear because the purpose that they put the women to isn't what you would expect when they specifically kidnap women, i.e., they're not doing heinous things to them. They are just forcing them to push a wheel forever.
Manual labor.
Manual labor, which, if you need manual labor in a world where people are malnourished, you're going to take dudes because dudes have more musculature normally. There are exceptions, but for the most part, it doesn't really make any sense. But whatever. So we were previously kind of during this scene introduced to Tibor and Willow. Tibor is our main character with an extremely effeminate voice, and he clearly has
Timor.
a thing for
Timor.
Timor. Sorry, Timor, and he clearly has a thing for Willow, and Willow happened to get kidnapped. So he gets the other female that didn't get kidnapped, whose name escapes me.
Scion. Scion.
Scion. There it is. That was close. One letter off.
I have it in front of my
It's
face.
Scion, and they're get into a submarine that they have um, to go
Not that you
chase
could tell
after.
they have a submarine based on all the other tech in these movies.
Yeah, it makes no sense, but they have one. So they take the submarine, chase after him. The guy goes free diving out of the submarine, which makes no sense. And they decide that they can't infiltrate the warlord's stronghold by themselves. So then it becomes Ocean's 11 meets Waterworld for like a heartbeat. Like that's
And this is where it gets really weird. So they go to this cantina, to say.
yeah, floating
And that is where
cantina.
you see two characters from Planet of the Sharks. I looked it up. There are two. There's um there is Moffat, who is like the control dude from the last movie, who was operating the radio, who appears for a second. And then there is the captain from the last one, Captain Barrick, who appears for a scene. And I thought for a second they were hiring him, but no. Instead, they just steal a boat.
Yeah.
That just happens to have equipment that they need.
Explanation for that. I got that one. So he starts to put together his crew. And so he walks into the bar and there is some sort of gambling going on who can drown themselves for the longest. So it's
Yes.
like two dudes and a blonde chick who looks like she's dead, with their heads in buckets of water. And Blondie wins. She does like a epic hair flip and then pushes it back. It was wonderful. Then we find out that she is some sort of super diver lady and that she works with this dude to do like crimes. And so like she had to pay him. And so he tells her he's got another job lined up, which is that the warlord, I can't remember the name of the location, but he's got a shipment coming in that has parts that he needs for their desalination machine, which is about the only thing in this movie that makes any sense. So the wheel that I talked about earlier that they're making the women push is the power supply for their desalination machine.
It looks like a coil on a wooden post.
Yes. Desalination is the removal of salt and salinity, other impurities from water. So you essentially use that to purify water, which you're going to need when the whole world is covered in
It's what
ocean.
California does now for a lot of drinking water.
Yes. So if you didn't know what desalination is, that's what desalination is. So they are waiting on parts that they can make the power supply based off of the movement of the water. They want to use tides to provide the energy to desalinate the water. It's actually really smart. So we know this is happening, and this guy talks to blonde diver girl and is like, we have a job, there's a boat here, we're going to kidnap, we're going to steal the boat. And she's like, no, I don't work for you anymore. I'm a diver. This is not what I do. Get out. So then, after they put together the whole rest of the team, the boat that they steal is the same boat that guy was talking about. That's why those parts were on the boat, just FYI. They didn't really explain it well. You had to actually be paying attention, which is hard to do with an Asylum film. But I was paying enough attention to catch that, so good on me. I didn't catch one of the cameos you mentioned, though, so it is what it is.
And then they also have a
Boom Boom.
Boom Boom. Is there, I guess, ends up being Token Black Man?
Yeah, the token black guy.
So he's not called Boom Boom in the
They hired him. They hired him for a specific purpose. I don't remember what the purpose was because he just likes to blow things up. So I call him.
They also hired apparently a hacker, the guy who can like scan the computer system, scan the base to see how it's all laid out.
He's a sonar guy. He was pinging them and then translating the sound waves that came back in order to figure out the layout. You're talking about the Asian guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Not Jackie Chan. Theophilus or whatever his name was. Yeah, so
and he also has another female who joins them, who I thought had to have been a character from the previous movie, who like runs the cantina, but is not.
Yeah, she's just some lady that's apparently famous in their world, but not thoroughly explained.
And also this warlord, who's played by John Savage, who is very recognizable. John Savage is in a lot of movies from Deer Hunter onward. If he's a warlord, he really does not have very many dudes. He has a lot of sharks. I wonder how many of his men he feeds to sharks.
I mean, does he need a lot of dudes if he's got sharks?
No.
Exactly.
But
so like,
And they keep on talking about how there was a legend of, or not a legend, a person who, when the flooding first happened, saved a bunch of their lives because he could control and talk to sharks. And it's very obvious that Willow is like descendant from this person, and she does end up controlling sharks when her friends are in danger, prevents them from being eaten. Blah blah blah.
That's it.
And then for some reason, I think if they read her mind waves, they can
They
control
figure out how
sharks
she's controlling
too?
sharks. So like they get into this like battle of wills over the sharks where Willow wins because the mind is greater than technology apparently. And she ends up saving the day and the whole crew was unnecessary.
Okay, let's talk about this. So, Planet of the Sharks, we praised specifically how most of the kills were just over the top and kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Most of the kills in this movie are just kind of dragged underwater. They're dead.
There's very few like nom that we see. It's all like they fall underwater and then we get blood out.
With a couple of
This
exceptions.
movie does have the best fight scene I have ever seen in an Asylum film, which is when
there was a fight scene that involved a straight up vertical kick while inside a car driving. How the heck are you going to beat that?
Not a fight scene. That's a single kick. This was Scrim versus Timor in the most epic duel of all time, where clearly Scrim was not trained on how to use two cutlasses at the same time, and he just swings wildly and screams, and it's wonderful. And then he gets attacked by a shark, falls into the water, kills the one shark, and then gets eaten by two more while just yelling. It's wonderful. Best scene in the movie by far. Also, Willow is the daughter of the captain of the boat from Planet, which doesn't make any sense because the ability to control sharks with your mind is apparently.
Wait, she was Captain Barrick's daughter? The one who was cameoed in this movie?
Yes.
Why was he not at home when she was?
He's supposed to be dead. That's what they all say. But there's a scene.
But he could talk to sharks when the giant mega shark was there.
Yeah, there's a scene where he gives her that medallion thing that she's wearing. And it makes no sense because, again, it's genetic to be able to control sharks. So this dude was able to control sharks.
His entire last movie?
The entire last movie was like unnecessary because he could have just been like, hey, sharks, stop it. And they would have been like, oh, sorry, dude. Yeah.
That's really dumb.
Yeah, this whole movie was dumb. The reviews said that this movie was better than Planet, but I disagree.
It's more coherent. It's certainly more coherent than Planet. Like the story
exists.
So I want to say something. So this is when John Savage dies. You can see this, right? So when John Savage dies. Now, this scene is the most obvious scene of whatever mechanism they had that was pulling him under the water was clearly just pasted, covered by these sharks that come and bite his arms, and then he gets his head bitten off. But they're clearly like cut and pasted over whatever the heck is holding him up because they don't fit. Like they're not even like they're extra floaty. But John Savage was fine with his squinty eyes. Yep. Sharks do what they did last time. There's Willow.
Willow.
Played by Ashley DeLange, who isn't in very much, which is kind of weird because she was fine. Yeah, that cage was never used, ever. Nothing like it was used. In fact, they're just usually put in the water and just kind of floated with like these 3 life preservers and wait for sharks to bite their legs off.
Yeah.
Which does happen for one of them. They get their legs bitten off and then they eventually go down, even though you see his legs when he's going down, but oh well. There's the medallion thing. a boat they
They're them.
stole, and then they keep on joking about how they did smash the stuff or didn't have it, the air filters that they apparently needed.
Yeah, one of these super important pieces they needed for their desalination device was an air filter.
Did you notice there's all these weird random bones just attached to this boat? I never noticed it in the movie.
Me neither, but
Why?
it makes sense. It is Scrim, and he is very over the top.
The standard sharks, these ones have green on them because you can control them. I thought it's
Yes.
because there was technology in them, not that he can just control them.
Well,
Because,
there was technology in Kamikaze Shark.
yes. But look at all these sharks. Like, there's no reason why sharks would just glow green on the side. This movie's bad, but not like painfully bad. It's just you finish it and you go, oh, okay. Music's fine. Look
Yeah,
is fine.
it's a movie. Like
It's a monster of the week movie.
Yeah, it's got a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it has a story. There was
And no
more
one's
coherent.
particularly bad in it. It's
Yeah,
just
it's just blah.
Yeah.
It's there. So I wouldn't recommend this movie to anybody. I would rather watch Planet over again than to watch this again. But yeah, it's not horrible. Mark Atkins is improving.